Hi, everybody, and welcome to the show, Dave Emmons and a Strange Reality, where we shine a light and try to open up the truth and the facts on things that are going on around us and things that we don't even know about that's going around us, the invisible things. We have a gentleman on tonight that's going to talk about a little bit about all that stuff, these strange groups, I guess the invisible things around us that we can't see or know about, but they're here with us. And also, he talks about healing and he talks about abductions. So this should be a very interesting. My guest this evening is Dr. Christopher Macklin. And he is Reverend Dr. Christopher Macklin, PhD, medical intuitive, paranormal conduit, spiritual teacher, health and wellness practitioner. Dr. Christopher Macklin is highly respected as a UFO expert, a medical intuitive, remote viewer, a spiritual teacher, and an energetic healer for his work in assisting people in achieving optimal spiritual, mental, emotional, health. And then Dr. Christopher is also a powerful health practitioner who resides in Branson, Missouri. That's not too far from me, doctor. And Mr. Macklin works with thousands of clients internationally. He provides a full range of healing services that address a spectrum of physical, mental, and emotional issues. He and his wife, Amanda, have founded the Global Enlightenment Project to serve and awaken humanity and to support the healing needs of people all over the world. That sounds really great. I like that because I'm part of that abductee contactee group myself. And he gets into the physical health also. He works with addresses wide range of mind, body, spirit imbalances to overall wellness. His background, Dr. Macklin shares his insights in the fields of spirituality, health and wellness, and the paranormal. His topics include SADS, 5Gs, and the effect on the public, UFOs, the Galactic Federation, raising the immune system, divine sovereignty, cause and effect of illness, lectures on the physical, spiritual, and emotional guide to health and wellness. Dr. Christopher specializes in healing abductees and others who have suffered related negative ET traumas. And I'll stop right there. And Dr. Macklin, you can take it from there and kind of tell us what you're doing and how you would like to express yourself to the people out there who's had these experiences that you can help them. I'll put this in a narrative also that how they can contact you. So just go ahead and tell us, Dr. Macklin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Well, Dave, first of all, thanks for having me. It's wonderful to be here, bless your heart. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. We, from a very early age, I'll just go quickly through what happened in my life, very quick, and then I can talk about what we do because it all kind of ties in. So at the age of, well, actually, 2 days after I was born, 8 strokes, had a lot of trauma, burnt my back when I was 4. And when I was 4, I was in my room one night and I saw like a dinosaur thing, and I didn't realize it was a reptilian, but dinosaur thing in the corner of my room. I said, Dad, there's a dinosaur in my room. And he comes running in where? It's there, He didn't see it. Like, oh, okay, so I can see it. And I worked out later it was an Anunnaki, a very tall, 10'6" Anunnaki being, looked a little bit like velociraptors. So anyway, I learned to manage them. He left, bad dream, darling, went, and it was still there. And so I felt the darkness of it. So I just basically said, get out of my room. It went, universal law. And so, I learned to manage them even at the age of 4. So anyway, moving on with life, I get a degree in electronics, masters in flight control systems, work for some flight control companies, design autopilot, different things, and then work for other companies like Marconi and, and I used to look around thinking, is this it? I mean, I earned tons of money, but is this it? There's got to be more than this on this planet, Mm-hmm. Anyway, in 2007, I started building houses. I made the most stupid mistake. From refurbing houses, I went to 176 apartments in Manchester, and oh dear, that's kind of a Donald Trump type project. That's not me. So anyway, I bought the land, got it all ready, and then of course, a year later, everything went down in price by half, and they said, we want our money back. You got 14 days to pay it. And I'm kind of thinking, oh. So I proceeded to go bankrupt, which is actually the best thing ever happened, but it didn't seem like it at the time. So I sit in the middle of Manchester, and I had two bags, worked for 21 years, and two bags, like Walmart bags with a few clothes and a couple of pantaloons and things. And that was it. I said, okay, guys, it's not funny. What's going on? They go, it's the right time. You'll see. What do you mean it's the right time? So I've got no money for food. I've got no money for nothing. It's the right time. And I did see. It took me on a great journey. I went all over the world, India. I went all over Europe. I came here. And um, through meditation, when I went to Belize, really interesting. I went to the Mayan temple called Chetantovich. It's near San Ignacio. Very powerful, these Mayan temples, because they're built on like ley lines, conjunct ley lines. And so when you get on these temples, they're very, very powerful. Anyway, it blew me wide open, had loads of visions of my past life and realized what I'm meant to be doing now. So I really focused on it. And I wanted to focus on healing people, but also enlighten them. And, through my experience, I went from, oh my God, powerless victim, woe is me, to taking my power back. And now, I want to help other people with it because it's so important to take that power back, get your vibration up, work on your trauma. And, people say, well, I need a guru. You don't need a guru. You are your own guru. All you've got to do is recognize it. And, I want people to get their own guru self back. So we opened the Global Enlightenment Project, which is part of Christopher Macklin Ministries. It's a non-profit. And, the main thing is helping people heal, helping them get awake, taking their power back, and then get out in the world and help other people. Now, the gift is, extremely interesting because it's a combination of psychic surgery, different energies to, break down tumors and things like this. I've got certain energies that break down tumors. I've got other energies that will just raise your vibration. And that's part of why we opened it. The second part is a pyramid project, an off-planet pyramid project, which we've been doing for a while and will be ready in the next year or two when the time's right to place them on the planet. And those will help raise the vibration of the ley lines and blow out all the satanic symbology. So, yeah, we work on all types of illness, work on cancers. Cancers, easy to get rid of. Cystic fibrosis, mental illness, schizophrenia, I've worked on it all. Issues with the intestines. The problem I find at the moment is so many people having so many problems with their body, like digestive. Why is that? Well, emotion bleeds into the digestive and paralyzes it. Plus, it bleeds into the pancreas, and so the enzyme count's low. It's understanding, and I spent 4 years in meditation, about 4 hours a day, to understand how this gift works. Because I obviously found out I was born as a Melchizedek being, and so they're my starseed family. So,
do you tell us a little bit about that? I want to get into your very beginnings. You said you saw a reptilian, and you must have had other contacts, I guess, throughout your life with these ET entities. Now, what got you started in your energy and your healing abilities, Dr. Macklin?
I've always had abilities, even when I was a little bit older. I used to go to school and, Dad, can you see that saucer in the sky? No, you've got a great imagination because I can see through the veil, and a lot of people can't. I can tune myself to see through the veil. So, for example, a lot of people who are sick have got a reptilian attached to them, like Anunnaki, Draconian, Luciferian, Archon, something like that. And what they're trying to do is attach to you to drag your vibration down, but also they send you negative thoughts. So, you go to work, oh God, you get these thoughts like you are useless, no one likes you, to try and, bring down your persona to a point where you're in a low vibrational place. So, and I can see them on people. Now, obviously, if you go into a restaurant, you don't want to see them. So at least I can shut it down, but, I can see it. I can also remote view people to see what's going on in the body. And from that, you can make decisions. Okay, we need this energy. We need this psychic surgery. And, we work at about 2,000 people a week, more or less.
That you're
A lot of,
must be a great empath. I want to start off. I guess we started off a while ago, but I want to get into how you heal people, and we talk about. I guess your first 3 or 4 comments are about UFO abductions or ET abductions. Can you describe a typical scenario of how people are being abducted? By the way, I do like your questions here. That's why I'm reading them off. I usually will change them around a little bit, but I like your questions the way they're worded, and I love it. So, and are they being taken out of their homes, or is this happening when they are out in their daily affairs? When does an abduction occur? I guess basically, and what's the typical scenario of an abduction? So people
The
can
typical
know.
scenario I've seen is at night. In the middle of the night, they put a beam, which goes straight through the walls. They, pick you up, transport you into the craft, and of course they paralyze you. Then they, most of the abductees, what they're after, the grey reticular, is eggs and sperm. So they're stealing body parts.
Right.
And so once they've stolen, now the other thing they do also as well is they actually sometimes fertilize the egg with their fertilization techniques, and then the person, the woman will come down, and suddenly she, wow, I feel pregnant. That will happen and last for about 2 or 3 weeks. Then she's abducted again, and suddenly they take the fetus out and take it over for themselves. And that's happened a lot as well. I've had women say, well, I felt pregnant. Now I don't. And then, oh, like 4 6 months later, I feel pregnant again. And then I don't. And it's obviously very disturbing for the people.
I got three. I guess I'm an experiencer, and a lot of people know me as that. And I've written a couple of books about some of my experiences. But I wanted to ask you, Doctor, when when you do get abducted, do you take in a lot of negative energy, like you were talking about a while ago? Even though they might be positive or spiritual ETs, do you still get that negative, depressed feeling from it, Doctor Macklin?
No, I mean, I think it's more like the grey reticular are negative beings because they're after stealing body parts. So people they feel abused in some way, they because they wipe the conscious, but the subconscious memory, you can't wipe it, so it's there. And so in some way they think something happened and I feel raped or I feel abused or something, and that's one of the problems. Now, the uh, the benevolent beings, they sometimes abduct people. For example, they abducted my mother to get me down here because you have to have a certain percentage of DNA from the Melchizedek beings to get the soul in.
Right.
It's the same with Arcturians, it's the same with other races. Palladians, not so much. So it depends what race you are, whether your mother has to get abducted. But of course, that was agreed before they came down here. That yeah, we'll abduct you, we'll fertilize the egg, or vice versa. We'll put the egg in and fertilize. So in that way, it was agreed. Now with the grey reticular, that was a contract that they had. Well, it started off with Hitler, and then it came over here with the paperclip project. And then they got the current president at the time to sign to say, yeah, he'll agree to abductions, but we want technology. And of course, look at the state of the world now. Giving us that level of technology is like giving a 2-year-old the keys to a Ferrari. We have no business in having them.
It sounds like early on, Dr. Macklin, you had to be considered a hybrid. We're all hybrids, I guess, to a certain extent. All of us humans, we've come from different ET or alien races, and we've been like the Sumerians way back when 60,000 years, 2,260,000 years. They actually manipulated our DNA. Or would you say that you're a hybrid for sure? Because you was talking about your mother, being, I guess, DNA manipulated. Have you, Dr. Macklin?
Oh yeah, I'm a hybrid of the Melchizedek beings, but my body's a little bit different. There's a couple. I mean, my heart is very large.
Mhm.
I had a scan one day and said, "Oh my God, you got end stage heart failure." Nah, it's okay. It's so funny. These doctors, unless your heart measured like 5 6 inches, whatever it is, the standard. Mine's about 3 or 4 inches bigger, and oh my God, you got end stage heart failure. What are you on about? And I think there's certain elements that people come in with because I am an empath, a huge empath, and working on 2,000 people a week, we're really busy, which means that you're going to take some of that emotion of people in, and the heart being big helps you, be able to, push through it without it affecting the heart, so to speak.
Right. I will put in the narrative how they can get a hold of you and how they can get some treatments from you in that area. Things that happen during an abduction. Of course, you just said it. They take semen eggs and then they implant eggs with the sperm and they make a baby and then the mother has carries it 2 or 3 months, and then it's gone. We've heard a lot of stories like that. I've always said there's three types of abductions. One is bedside, in which a little gray come to me at my bedside, probably took semen and maybe some DNA samples, and with the semen, of course, and did a brain read or a frequency read. And then the second one is they take you to the ship. And my
Mm.
thoughts are that they take a lot of women to the ship because their procedures are a little bit more complicated than the men's procedures. And then there's a
Yeah.
third way that I brought up, and I wanted to ask you this question. I've been waiting to ask you this question. 6 years in a row, I was frozen. I was at 3 o'clock in the morning. I woke up shaking the bed violently, and my arms were like I was dead. They was frozen. I mean, my whole body was frozen. It was August 11th, and through the 13th, it happened 6 years in a row, the same day, just about. And it was
Oh.
72 degrees in the room. I had a blanket on, and I was shaking. And my wife did not hear it. She did not wake up. Normally, she'd wake up if a phone drops on the carpet. She'd wake up. She, what was that? Is that your buddies coming back again? I said, no, that's my phone. But this time I was shaking so violently, I got up, went to the bathroom, come back out, laid down, and I was so exhausted I fell asleep. And the doctor couldn't explain it because my blood levels are fine. So I don't know what that was, doctor. Could you maybe tell me that what that freezing episode 6 years in a row at the same day?
I
Just
think I see it being taken into a ship. And I think, yeah, I think it came from that. Whether it was really cold, who knows, where they weren't paying attention. And when they put you back, everything's fine, except that you're freezing cold and, the temperature was really low. And then it obviously warms up because, if say you had no clothes on, they were messing about with you for an hour or two or whatever they were doing. It can be cold on these ships for sure. So I think it came from that.
well, that's the straightest answer I've gotten so far. My doctor couldn't answer it, that's for sure. Basic, I guess, medical doctors they can't they don't get into that other side of things like we do. Uh, but do they take you to another dimension? Also, is that where we get these regress dreams that we remember, Dr. Macklin?
They can, yeah. I mean, there's infinite dimensions. People say there's seven, nine, something. What I see is there's infinite dimensions, and the grey reticula reside in the fifth dimension. So do the Anunnaki, but they can switch dimensions. They can switch into this dimension. We can't. We're stuck in the third dimensional world at the moment. Hopefully, we'll be transcended to the fifth, whilst going through the fourth dimension. But these beings, they can shapeshift. So like Anunnaki, like the Queen of England. She
Yeah,
was an Anunnaki. Terrible.
yeah. I wanted to ask you this question too. I just thought of this the other day. Uh, when we pass over, do we go to another dimension when we pass? And they say we don't remember anything and we have to have these past life regressions, but they say we don't remember anything when we get on the other side. But here's the problem with that. The Bible says when you cross over, you're asked a lot of questions about your life and what you did. And then secondly, a lot of people, when they cross over, they meet dead relatives. How do they have memories? And then they say our memories are wiped. Which one's right, Dr. Macklin?
Well, here's the deal. When you pass over, you remember this lifetime, and you can get back to, and you can see all the lifetimes.
Mhm.
You can see everything you've done. But you've got to remember when you first cross over, most people get a life review where, like you say, that you sit down, you go through the lifetime, you feel other people's emotions about wrongdoings you've done, and oh my God, I never realized. And the life review can be pretty hard, especially for murderers and people like that. That's why sometimes they try and stay between worlds because they haven't got the gumption to go and actually face up to what they've done. But you get your life review. Oh God, and don't forget. To me, there's no karma. The karma is having a life review and feeling people's feelings that you've done wrong to. That's to me is the karma. You create your own karma, in my opinion. So anyway, once you've had your life review, you then move on and decide, what you do. It's a different dimension, fifth dimension. I'm from the ultimate dimension. Actorians are from the 12th dimension. You'll go back, and you've got to remember as well, on the planet, there's starseed people, and then there's the normal human being. Now, a normal human being is just a splice with a normal soul, spliced from genetics from 57 different races so that, it created the human race. starseeds, like I say, are normally from a race where they're here to do something. They're here to make a difference.
Mhm.
And people say, well, why do you need starseeds down here? And the answer is because this world is this world runs on the keys of Enoch, and the keys of Enoch are free will. Even Prime Creator can't interfere with what's happening down here because that was the rules that were set. So how do you get help down here if the planet's going south, which it pretty is at the moment? And the answer is you have to plant down here starseed people who are gifted, who could actually pull from the ethers and help, get help from down here so they can actually make a difference. So that's why there's about 400 million starseeds, something like that. There's quite a few.
I hear quite a few people talk about being a star seed or a star child or whatever. How do we know personally if we are a star seed or a star child, Dr. Macklin?
I think the most fundamental knowledge is you get down to this planet and go, hang on a minute, I don't belong here. God dropped me off at the wrong planet because you don't understand the average human behavior, like narcissism, passive aggressive, talking behind people's backs. Starseed people are very different. They're empaths. I remember when I was younger, about 6 weeks ago. so, but
Yeah.
yeah, maybe 7 weeks ago. But I remember when I was younger that, if someone talked behind my back, it would affect me that badly. I'd almost be, throwing up because it so drastically affected me. But over the years, now I'm a bit older, a few weeks later, you tend to learn, and it's the thing what I call the couldn't give a shitometer. It's gone. You think I don't worry anymore. In fact, Dave, I've learned to not worry about anything. I've surrendered. I know God's got my back, whoever God is, and I define God as God, Goddess, prime creator of all it is. And I know God's always got my back. I've surrendered. I do God's work every day, service to others, and I don't worry about anything because nothing really matters. All that matters is what's around you and the beautiful life you create. So
Yeah. Is there a heaven and hell? And just quick, shoot that to you.
no, I mean I think the hell's down here. I think heaven is, to me, heaven is getting into a different dimension where there's no money. You're sipping champagne with God. Yeah, I did the lifetime. Woohoo! Don't have to worry about money. All there is absolute love. I mean, I've been there a couple of times, and the love that you feel, you can't even describe it. It's undescribable. It's just like, wow, And so when you get back to this dimension, you think, oh, okay, it's a low density, planet right now. We just need to help it change, in whatever way we can. That's why with starseeds here.
That's we do have a really chaotic world right now, and a lot of people are having a hard time coping. I guess you have a lot more people coming to you from stress, maybe external stress, not so much internal. I don't, will not explain that. I'm not a doctor, but actually, this is some of the things you do. What kinds of things have you had to help abductees heal from, and how have these things affected their lives, relationships afterwards, Dr. Macklin?
Well, I think abductees, there's certainly when they implant a woman, and they leave the fetus in there and then bring her back down here. I don't really know, but they always put three implants in them, that monitor the body, like brain pattern. They put one near the heart and they put one near the womb to check on the fetus and everything else. So they always put implants, three implants. And so we've fried those for a start. I've also had like a lot of women saying, I feel like I've been raped. My womb's like so sore, as though someone's really done something really bad to me. And of course, scar tissue. You're going to get scar tissue. So, I've helped them heal from that, and also the emotion of it. I've got a very fast track method. It's using psychic surgery. As starseeds and as empaths, we ingest, I don't know, 100, 150,000 layers of emotion, maybe more in a lifetime. And because the heart is not a pump, it's an energetic vessel. It pushes blood through it through polarity. So I don't really know that. So if you put a load of emotion around it, that's really going to affect that heart in a bad way. So what the Melchizedek beings do, when I open a portal, put it around people and bond it into Merkabah fields, and if anyone doesn't know what a Merkabah field, then that's a Merkabah.
Okay.
And so the Melchizedek beings can come down. Once we vibrate that body to a higher level, they can actually walk in the body and do some things. And what they do is within those 100 odd thousand layers, they're okay, let's look for your biggest emotional layer affecting you right now. And they pull that out. Then they pull the next one out. So you can get rid of a lot of emotion very quickly. And that really helps people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Kind of like PTSD. I also wanted to tell you, I've been wanting to, I love your background, that purple color, and that's the tree of life, I guess, behind you.
Yeah, that's Buddha, believe it or not. That's
Yeah.
Buddha.
Yeah, it's Buddha there, but that tree of life, it's sparkling and shining. You got a great background. It's purple. It's real easy. You did it for a purpose. It helps ease people's tensions a little bit. Yeah, that's great. Now, have you found that the people that are able to resume a normal life after an abduction, kind of like PTSD, I guess, Dr. Macklin?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing we do, if they've got PTSD or anxiety, one of the reasons why you get anxiety, PTSD, ADD, OCD, ADHD is because after, when you ingest this emotion, the neurochemical balance goes off. So the serotonin, GABA, dopamine, melatonin, and the rest of it all goes off balance. And that's what causes these things. So we've developed a program where we can uh, pull the emotions out of the heart chakra directly related to the abduction. And then what we do is work on the serotonin for the adrenals, work on the GABA, dopamine, and the rest of the glands in the brain to help rebalance the neurochemical balance. So it gets rid of the PTSD, ADD, ADHD.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One of the purposes, I know that you're a doctor of this stuff, and you've been going through this for quite some time. There's a lot of people out there that have, I've talked to some people, some experiencers that really have some emotional trauma afterwards, more like PTSD, I guess you'd say. I've been
yeah,
through that myself, and I know a little bit about that. But it's just like I don't know. People sometimes don't even know they've been abducted. That's the problem too. Uh,
yeah.
and then when they come to you, can you actually tell if they've been abducted by, I guess, talking to them and getting their feelings out? Is that part of the treatment is to find out the original path of what happened to them, Dr. Macklin?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I'll actually go back in time. Remote viewing, I've got the ability to go back in time like a tape recorder. Okay, let's go back. I want to see the biggest event that has happened that has given you this PTSD. And they'll run a video, like a small video, like 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, yeah, it was abductee or someone raped you. Because even with rape, sometimes people don't remember because when it's traumatic like that, the soul kind of leaves the body
Right.
and you just numb. You don't remember it. And then, afterwards, what happened almost? They go almost blank completely because the body's got amazing ability to work with trauma. The reason why the soul leaves the body is because I always tell rape victims, look, the vehicle that you're navigating this third dimensional world got affected, but your soul didn't because normally it will leave the body, and that's why you don't remember anything. So
Right. Another question here that I liked is, why are these off planet races? What are they doing? Why are they doing these abductions? And they have been occurring over a long period of time. Do you foresee a time when these abductions will stop? It will disclosure stop that? And then what can we all do to keep ourselves safe and prevent from being abducted? I don't think we can, but Dr. Macklin, you can answer that. I threw you two at one time there.
yeah. Well, uh, the grey reticular. It was in 2017. I chair the Galactic Federation along with two other Melchizedek beings, and there's a lot of beings involved. We're talking, and I remember attending a meeting. Sometimes you go to the meetings where they'll give you, like, okay, 5 minutes, we're having a Galactic Federation meeting. They'll take you, but just the soul. So because your soul's not there, you're in a coma, like out,
Mhm.
and that's okay. So they give you, right, go lay on the bed. We'll take you in a minute. And so this one day they didn't. I didn't quite get to the bed. I felt like they were going to take me, and suddenly I was on the floor out. My wife thought, "Oh my God, he's had a stroke." Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, hang on. Has he in the Galactic Federation? Yeah. Oh, it's okay. So leave him there. So anyway, you go for about 10 minutes or whatever you go. It was actually 10 minutes, but in time, it felt like a day and a half. We were there talking to other beings, and here's the deal we were talking about. What's the difference between violation and education? Okay, so you come down here and, reptilians attached to you, beings attached to you, they're called entities and all this sort of thing. Is it a violation of education? The answer is it's an education. Why is that? Because before you come down here, they show you what happens on this planet. And of course, you're all gung ho. Yeah, we can do it, and you get down here, then, oh my gosh, what was I thinking coming down here? I'm just joking because I love it. But that's an education, it's a classroom, an extreme classroom. But what happens if your government signs a contract to say you can abduct our people if you give us technology? Is that a violation of education? Absolutely, because you're knocking someone out. You don't have their permission, and the reptilians have permission because they've shown you it's a classroom. Do you want to come? And if you do, you're going to get attachment. So you're going to have to learn how to deal with them. So you've really given you permission to, yeah, I'll come down here. And if I get an attachment, I'm going to sort it out. But, if someone signed a contract with the government and they're abducting you, paralyzing you, taking to the ship, stealing your body parts and putting you back, that's a violation of, the universal law. So in 2017, it was decided, decreed by the Federation, to take them off the planet. So the Arcturians took them off the planet. So, and then they started coming out. What on earth is going on? Because they were banned, and this is the mistake we made, banned from this time space. But what happens if they come through a portal near people and manipulate them? Then they're in a different time, but the same space. You see what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So they kind of got over the thing by getting in a portal. So they open portals in people's houses, stay within the portal and mess about with them, within the portal, not actually coming down out of this portal to the time space here. So they're very crafty.
Yeah, I noticed that myself. I've noticed a couple of portals myself in my abductions, and I've seen them, like the waves come in and things like that, and a little bit and a bright flash of light comes in. They come through these portals. That's how they do things. But the Galactic Federation is real. I mean, right? I mean,
Oh,
why?
yeah.
Yeah, why does the Galactic Federation? What is their purpose and what is their job? You explained a little bit, but just for the simple layman terms, what are they basically for, and how many races do they cover, Dr. Macklin?
Oh, there's a ton of races. I mean, the meetings we have, sometimes you have 10,000 beings there, and you're talking to them telepathy. You don't talk, you don't speak with voice. And thousands. I don't know exactly how many, but thousands, and many particular races. And they're there. The whole point about the Galactic Federation is to police. And it depends. There's also councils for the Palladians, like Council of Nine for the Palladians and different ones. But I'm talking about overall policing time space continuum in every dimension. It covers a lot. It covers and what they're trying to do is make sure that people are abiding by universal laws. Now, and this planet's getting dark. It's being manipulated, and people often say, "Well, where's God? Why can't God get involved?" Well, because God's not allowed. The prime creator created this as a classroom, and you agreed to come here, so it's up to us to actually make the change down here. It's up to the people to take back the planet. And at the moment, it's been run by a few families that, I mean, it's ridiculous, and
Yeah,
we're allowing it. So it's up to us to actually take back the planet.
right. Why are we being targeted, the human race? Well, I heard that question before. Why do they target us? Do they also do abductions on other planets and other races, just to mix their DNA or manipulate it, or to find out knowledge or whatever, Dr. Macklin?
Yeah, there is trouble on other planets. I mean, in Orion's belt, there's wars going on. It's kind of crazy. But the reason why they like the human race is, one, we have a ton of gold down here, and they want it. And the other thing about it is we're very different beings. We have love, we have empathy, we have all the things that a lot of races don't have. I know the Arcturians do, but Andromedans are more logical. Andromedans, they're more like scientists rather than loving. I'm not saying they're bad. It's just they're very logical. A bit like Spock.
Mhm.
But there's they're very interested in the way we operate because of love. Which a lot of them, all these races have lost. And anarchy. I mean, not all the reptilian are dark, but a lot of them are.
I I keep thinking back, history is all wrong. We talked about this off air before we started, that history is all wrong. You have the elites that run things. And here's the question you have here. And are these abductions connected to the elitist agenda to control humanity? And is that why we have all the chaos? And what races are doing this? The reptilians, the one? That's a guess that I have, Dr. Macklin.
Well, the main abductions, I mean, the reptilians, they're interested in children for consumption, under the planet. So a long, long time ago, Babylonian times, to keep the reptilians of the planet, they were fodder for them. So that's why a lot of people and kids go missing and never appear, because they're fed to these reptilians of the planet. They actually eat you. Now, the abductions, so the craft abductions are mainly from the grey reticula. They're doing all the abductions. The disappearance of people and disappearance of children is because of this terrible child trafficking rings that is absolutely disgusting. The Vatican, all over the place. But they also feed. And what's interesting is that now they want to take back the planet. They want to come on the surface, but they can't. Why is that? Because down below here, in the massive caverns of the planet, the cities they live in, the oxygen level's way, way lower. And that's why people like Gates want to actually block out the sun so that plants start dying off, and so that there's less oxygen on the planet, and therefore they can come up. And that's what we don't want, because we're fodder for them. These things are like 10 foot 7 tall. They're very muscular, very strong, and very strong-minded. I mean, they can, if there was a platoon of Marines, for example, I don't know about the Marines actually, but, say a platoon of army people, and they were just about to fire on them, they have the mind, and unless you've got a really strong mind, they can actually, just make you drop your gun. Just, oh, what's happened? They can take over your mind. Very strong-minded. I've had mind battles with them, actually. And you've got to have a very strong mind to be able to, overcome that.
Right. One time I was in an abduction, and you said a key word a while ago, that we have the control if we want it. I To stop an abduction, I got so scared that I said, "Oh God, help me." And I said it twice, and then after the second time, it was gone. Whatever was setting
Yeah.
to let me on the bed and went through all this electrical shock, it was gone. And we do have freedom of choice, I guess, on that. And then I just wanted to bring that point up, that you're right on with a lot of the things that you're saying, and me being an abductee, or a contactee actually. And is this connected? This underground stuff and all this bad chaos stuff, is AI an agenda that is helping these ETs and these bad people, Dr. Macklin?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, if you look at transhumanism, there's massive separation. I mean, with all the things and the, pandemic thing and everything else that happened, it's created like, it's put like a crowbar in the center of families, the center of friends. I mean, Dave, I don't recognize this planet anymore. I'm looking through the,
Yeah,
wow,
me
this
either.
is like, it's like nuts.
I'm
Nuts.
I'm an elderly guy, and I've seen the 50s and 60s, and I know what. And now the last, I guess it's been about 4 years, it's been getting worse and worse. Uh,
Yeah, no, and I don't know whether you agree, but it when you look outside, it seems more surreal. I think there's definitely a big change going on the planet, but people keep telling me, "Oh, we're ascending to 5D," and I'm looking outside and you saw you're on the same planet, because I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing people go really south. There's
yeah,
one thing. There's one thing that's interesting about. I don't know if you felt the collective energy. It's really bad at the moment. There's a crystalline structure around the planet, below the firmament, um, where we used to use it for telepathy, but we've lost our ability. But what happens is it also stores, anxiety and emotion from the collective. And as the collective emotion gets worse, so it fills up. And one of my jobs with the Actorians was to clear it. They actually clear it with craft. And they used to clear it once every 3 months,
yeah.
4 months, and then it went to once every 2.5 months and 2 months. Now it's cleared every week. And I asked permission, can we clear it every day? And they said no. I said, why is that? Because they said, we're here, humanity's here to learn something. And if you take all the anxiety energy away, they'll never learn anything. So you can help by making sure that they're not suicidal. But, you need to leave enough so that they feel like, wow, this is crazy energy. And I thought, yeah, you're right. And so we just clear it once a week, and it fills up really quick. I mean, sometimes I don't. Some days I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone with the movie, where it's like da 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 da, something's just about to happen, and then it doesn't. But oh well. But like some days you feel discombobulated. It's just
Yeah, I wake up
yeah.
in the morning like that. I'm just like got a cloud around my head. I wanted to ask you about this the abduction connection with the hybrid human species. Dr. David Jacobs, in which I met before, he has a book, They Walk Amongst Us. Now, do you feel that the ETs are shapeshifted and screened and they walk amongst us, Dr. Macklin?
Oh yeah. Well, don't forget, a lot of the governments are reptilian hybrids, so they've got a high level of reptilian DNA. I mean, you look at these, but people think, oh my God, it's the government, the deep state government's doing it all. It's not. They're just puppets.
Right.
It's the guys under the planet who are in charge. But certainly, I mean, there's reptilian hybrids, there's reptilian shapeshifters, and they do work among us. You can always tell. And people say, well, how do I recognize if someone's shapeshifted? Well, I've got a book, Maps of Intent, which is prayers. But it's sacred maps of intent. And we've got one. If you feel someone, because you'd always tell it's really dark. They're really dark. If they're standing near you, you can say a prayer to yourself, and the prayer goes like this: it says, "I am of God. I ground myself to the earth. Dear God, I command you, show this person in their true form, and I thank you, God, send you my unconditional love, so be it." And what will happen if they're shapeshifted? They can't hide from that. So what happens is like a reptilian overlay comes over them, like a velociraptor. It's opaque, but it's very visible. Like, wow. I had a girlfriend who was reptilian. I didn't even realize. One night she's so mean. I said this prayer, and oh my God, it's a reptilian. So,
Really? She exposed herself?
yeah, it was like a reptilian. So she didn't completely go back to the form, but what they do is you can see an opaque overlay of their true form. And I was looking at, wow. So next morning, I got a load of bin bags, put all my stuff, go.
Yeah. Actually, she was actually going around collecting seed, I guess, right? Reptilian. That's how they
Yeah.
collect seed. I ran into a young lady, beautiful young lady. If they're going to be a human, they're going to be really beautiful and really talented in order to work, get amongst people and work around humans. And this young lady, she turned to me and she has green slits in her eyes, and I said, "Ooh." I felt her energy, just like you said. You can kind of feel
Yeah.
it.
Like, oh,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
you could feel that energy, and it scared me because I think she gave me the come on sign. I said, no, I'm glad I didn't. This was happened way before I was married, so I can talk about that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but okay, now in healing, and you're also talking in my wheelhouse too about the underground and the reptilians and evil. I just wrote a sci-fi book. I just finished it and I'm going to send it in. And it's about, the underground reptilians and controlling the politicians and all the banks and everything and the big 13 families, the elites, controlling a lot of things. And if the platform doesn't like it, well, take this as entertainment. Really, okay, if you want to, don't want to believe it, but it's very true. And Dr. Macklin, I see what you're doing, and wow, I'm glad I ran into you, or I got your name because you're tremendous. Now, is there a way that we can bring more light to all this chaos and with these abductees and contactees, Dr. Macklin?
Well, I think, we should just make them aware there's help because, people, when they get abducted, of course, if you tell your parents, I mean, most of the starseed people, there's one starseed in one family, and the rest of them people are just normal.
Right.
And, when you talk about, well, I was abducted last night or something, well, what are you on about? They don't believe you. And I think what we've tried to do also is set up, a community like Friday afternoon at, I think it's 3 p.m. We have a heart sharing circle where people come on, it's free, and they do a bit of meditation. They can talk to each other, they can express things if they're worried. And, it's a safe place to express because one thing I'm finding now is that um, as a starseed person, you don't have many friends. I mean, I don't have many friends. I have a few, but I'm very picky and I set big boundaries, So if someone's going to suck the life out of it, I just can't be with them because I can't do this work of the day and then listen to all that stuff at night.
Right.
So all my friends, we have a laugh. We put music on and grill something, or we go to their house, they cook some dinner, and we have a laugh and go by the fire. We make fire. We're actually building a house 12 minutes from here. This is the ministry building, and it's a 40-acre wooded site, completely wooded. And we built the house bang in the middle of the woods, because one thing I love about trees is that, when you've got that tree density, if you feel a little angsty, you just sit there and oh, wow.
Yeah.
They absorb that, and you just think, oh, wow, you feel horizontal.
They
So,
give you those electrons to kind of get you.
oh, God. Yeah.
That's
I
kind
love going down there. And sometimes, I mean, the house isn't quite finished, but when we live there, it's just going to be stunning, absolutely stunning.
all right. I won't, say your location, but that's the Ozarks, right?
Yeah, it's the Ozarks. Yeah.
So I go down.
Yeah.
Well, now we talked about the
But,
entities, the invisible threats surrounding us. That's the same ones that are controlling the evil and the corruption and also the crime. I don't want to get into to the different departments of crime here, but a lot of the crime that's been going on, everybody knows about it, but they don't like for you to talk about it straight up. But there's a lot of crime, and there's a lot of people coming from other countries here, and we're just in a mess. And we got the politicians who are going along and just letting open the door to everything. So are these entities, the invisible entities, who are they exactly? I know we talked about reptilian and others, and are they in the Pentagon, and are they around the White House and Congress, Dr. Macklin?
oh, yeah. 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 All their hybrids are.
Yeah.
I know a lot of them go to Antarctica, because one of the main entrances in Antarctica to these underground cities, but most of the politicians who have been, who are evil and have been in the, in politics for years, they're reptilian hybrids, and or shapeshifters, of course. But most of them are hybrids, because they're just puppets. People say, "Oh my God, it's the president. He could do." No, they're just puppets.
Yeah.
So it's time for us to take this country back.
I I I'm just so glad that you're saying all the things that I've been thinking about. I've been realizing this myself. Maybe that's I've been abducted and I've been implanted, so maybe I'm part hybrid. But do these people know that they are reptilian, or do they know that they're hybrids, or are they just acting and they're being controlled mentally or psychically to do what they're doing, or do they actually know they're reptilians, Dr. Macklin?
Well, the reptilian shapeshifters, absolutely. The reptilian hybrids, I'm not too sure. I just think I think they've been engineered to have no empathy and no love, and so their whole purpose is for power and greed, which is money. And it makes me laugh. They have all these dollar bills and they're promised to pay notes, and so everyone, you go to the store and I'm going to promise to pay you for this cauliflower. Okay, so then the store promises to pay the wholesaler, and wholesaler promised to pay, and it's just going round. Everyone's promised to pay, but no one's paying anything, because it's a promissory note. It makes me laugh. This economy is crazy, but I think I feel that they know they're different, but they're pretty evil, because you can always tell that they have no soul. Particularly, the soul is dead. It's like on this planet, there's probably about 65% non-player characters. What are they? Well, they're manufactured by big corporations, millions of them, millions and millions. They've got farms, pod farms, because one thing I try and teach people, you cannot get a proper human being unless you have a woman's womb, because the God energy brings the soul, proper soul in. So what do? They grow a hybrid, they grow like a biological suit and put some sort of AI in it. And you can always tell, because these people have no soul. You look at their eyes, they're completely dead. Like, there's nothing there. And they behave very differently. They're not really they're kind of checked out. And there's
Right.
a lot of them.
Yeah, and that I guess that has to say a lot about these killers. I mean, people that have no empathy for people at all. They can kill and just walk away and have a party somewhere. I guess that's the type of people that don't have souls. Is that what you're saying, Dr. Macklin, to narrow it down?
Yeah. But then there's another way as well. Some killers get possessed. So I remember, if I can give you an example, I remember Ted Bundy, and I wanted to know why he would chop up 36 women. What drove? Because no human being could do that. That's not normal human behavior. That's not Stasi behavior. And so they did they did a series, and it was a going through his life, what happened up to getting the electric chair. And when he's on death row, there was someone went to interview him who was a journalist, and he said it was really interesting because he said when he said in third party, how would somebody do what you did? So he didn't say you, he just said somebody. He explained the whole thing. Blah, 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 He said, okay, so how did you do it? His eyes went black, got really aggressive. And that's a complete possession because I've seen, I deal with possessed people every day, and we escort get rid of these entities like Luciferians. I remove them, Archons, Anunnaki, Draconians, all these entities, snake beings. I do on a daily basis because most people who are depressed or sick have an attachment of some sort. And so, some of them could be because they're possessed completely, but others because they're really hybrids, reptilian hybrids who don't care about anything except money and power. They don't want anything else.
Well, we've seen a lot of those people, but I I just think that what now you have visits into your you have an office where you visit people can come to you for I guess for these treatments and cleansing, or you do it over the internet? How
I
do you?
do it over the internet. I either use Zoom or Skype. I phone people or they're on video. And, I mean, actually in a day, for example, one-to-ones, I do something like 15 people. We have a specialized group with up to 20 people. So we work every day, 35 people with group, small group or one-to-ones. And then twice a week, we have a general group where we cover a lot of things, well, not everything, but a lot of things like cancers and eyes, ears, nose, intestine, problems, pancreatic problems, osteoporosis, and all these things. And that takes about an hour. It doesn't cover everything, and I only run it for 4 hours. But to me, I mean, Dave, I've been without food, money for food. I've been without a lot of things, and I always wanted to make sure, as a non-for-profit, we always offer somewhere where people get a healing, and it's by donation. If you don't have any money, don't donate. If you have some money, help us out.
Yeah,
So yeah,
well, that's
so I do
great.
those twice a week.
I wanted to get into this last part, and I asked about it earlier, and a lot of people are wondering about these strange groups. We're not talking about the alphabet boys, in the government. We're talking about the cabal and the Illuminati. Who are they, and what are they really up to? And deep state, and that's been talked about too. So, who are these people? Are they working with the reptilians and the underground corrupt people? Uh,
Yeah, on the top of the planet, if you look at the Masonic Lodge and then Bohemian Grove, so the Masonic Lodge goes from 1 to 33 degrees, as you know. So that's the top of the Masonic Lodge. Then after that, you got Bohemian Grove, 34 to 37 degrees. So who's the top of that tree? Oh, that would be the families, the big banking families. They're at the top of the tree, 37-degree Masons. They have all the money. But then beyond that, then you've got the reptilian, people who are controlling the whole thing. But it's funny because people join the Masonic Lodge. Oh, it's just a business thing, and da da da. And when you get to 10 degrees, oh, you're going to worship Lucifer, and that's it. And after that, you can't get out. They do some things which, which, if found out, would be a big problem. So they make sure that you're locked in. You're never going to leave. So after 10 degrees, you're finished. You can't leave. And then, of course, 33 degrees is the top. And then if they decide to get you in the elite club, the Bohemian Grove, then you go from 34 to 37. And you're amongst all the world leaders. Well, what they call the world leaders, world puppets is probably a better description.
Right. They
Um,
handpicked you and they select you, I guess. They can actually you don't even have to be a Mason, I guess, to be hand selected for a top Illuminati group or whatever. They can actually make a selection of what if you have the talents that they're looking for that helps them out. But the ordinary Masons, though, I've known some and they're community driven. I mean, they do things community, and like you said, once they get up higher up, then there's a lot of changes. Now, I'd like for you to, we're about ready to close out here. Just can't believe how fast an hour went. I want you to tell us a little about what you do and how you can help people that have listened to us about abductions and about this chaotic world and crime and all this other things, and how you can help people cope, Dr. Macklin.
well, it can help people by doing healing on you. I mean, I've got so many techniques. We've got psychic surgery. if you've got cancer, primary cause of cancer, emotions, secondary cause, pathogens mutating cells. We have, if you've got any stealth pathogens or nanotechnology, i.e., drank the Kool-Aid, or even Lyme disease, AIDS, Agent Orange, we can strip all out of the body. I've got a 20-week program, and it's used using timeline splitting. As a Melchizedek being, I can split someone's timeline in two that you're on right now. And so we put you on a path of divine alignment, complete wellness, where all those pathogens, stealth pathogens, nanotech, and everything else is out of the body. On the other timeline, we separate those out and lock it in a timeline sun. So as time goes on, it separates out of the body. And then we invoke a DNA change to reset the DNA back to the blueprint in the Akashic records, which takes about 10 weeks. So it's a 20-week program. It's really helped. I mean, I'm on my 53rd, run it for 3 years, on my 53rd group. We've worked on about 650 people with these really chronic diseases, including the Kool-Aid, the latest Kool-Aid, of course.
Yeah. What about the CE5? Can you call in an ET and talk to them anytime at a call, Dr. Macklin?
I can use telepathy, yeah. I mean, when I talk to them, for example, I work a lot with Mother Mary and, different Melchizedek beings. She was a Melchizedek being. And, I can talk to them on a daily basis, like, what do you think of this, and get advice. Can I physically call them? Or you're just talking, can I speak to them?
Yeah. Will they show up in a room, either holographically or invisibly or whatever?
I've had the Arcturians show up. I went to a ranch, and I remember it was a horse sanctuary, and it was Arizona. It was Stardust Ranch. And the poor guy died actually last February, but John, but he was a great guy. Anyway, he called me up and said, "Look, I get up in the morning, and one of my horses has been eaten, half eaten, dismembered, and everything else, and it was the grey reticula." And I thought, okay. He said, "Look, I need some help. This has got to stop." So I went down for the weekend, and he said, "What happens is that when this happens, a short while before, a portal opens. You get a sonic boom, portal opens, and these greys come out, do stuff, and then they go back in and gone." So anyway, I decided I wanted to open this portal and shut it down for good. So I spent the whole weekend there, and on the Sunday, it was about 3 or 4 o'clock, there was a sonic boom, got it open. Now, what's interesting is that normally it opened near the ground, but when it opened, the Arcturians turned up, 3 craft. They were only about half a mile away, going. And they were going for 3 to 1, 3 to 1. Then the military helicopter came out. And I said to them, "Why are you guys?" He said, "Well, we know what you're like. You'll do stupid shit if we don't turn up, because you'll walk through the portal and disappear or something." And so, and they said, "We're your watchers. I've got watchers that watch me if things get crazy." So I said, "Okay, well, thanks, guys." And anyway, so they got the portal. They moved the portal up 300 feet so I couldn't go through it. And stuff was dropped. I'm not joking. I was just watching stuff like craft and things. And anyway, eventually I got the keys, shut it down forever, and the whole thing stopped. But yeah, I mean, I've seen beings. I've seen craft. And it's amazing.
You sound very interesting. I really enjoyed talking to you tonight. I guess we're going close to the close here. I want you to tell people how they can get hold of you and talk to you, or set up an appointment, or with your webinars or whatever you have. Dr. Christopher Macklin, go ahead and tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, the easiest way is to go to the website, globalenlightenmentproject.com. That's globalenlightenmentproject.com. And you can send an email. You can, you can phone the office. Some of the offices, we've got girls. We have about 10 staff, and I've got people in the office answering the phones. I've got, we do a lot of crystals. We sell a lot of crystals and different things. We also have a lot of meditation specifically to heal particular things like PTSD. We've got a brain series for PTSD, ADD, ADHD, OCD. So, look at all these instruments will help you, And if you want healings with me, we've worked on everything, really. There's nothing I've worked on, even Morgellons disease, which is the nanotechnology.
Yeah.
We've got rid of that. So, and I've been working with that for 14 years.
Is that an alien disease that
Oh, yeah. The nanotech, what they've done is, it's interesting. People, a lot of more people with Morgellons thinks it's fungus because it's grown in the body, but it's not fungus, it's nano. So how does it grow in the body? Well, what do you need for growth? You need carbon. Well, graphene, carbon. You need oxygen, and you need warmth, water, and all this sort of thing. So what they do is they're bound to the nanoparticles, things like nylon 3336. Hence, they're finding, people are finding squid in the arteries. Looks like squid. They're bound silicates. They've also got a complementary metal oxide array within the nanotubes that can transmit receive frequencies. They've also bound plant material. So what happens is these things grow in the body. They don't just, they don't just float around. They grow, and they start growing through the tissue, and that's why people start to become transhuman. I mean, Morgellons is horrendous. Some of the things I've seen with Morgellons, I've seen like like red jacket type wasp things. I've seen opaque ones of those like walk out of someone's arm, and I think, wow, this is it's crazy, but it's part of the Morgellons. I've seen what do you call it? Butterfly wings just come out of someone's hip. I've seen nylon come out. All this stuff. Blinking, also blinking hexagons where they're actually blinking, they're lighting up. And you think, it depends on the immune response. Depends how the Morgellons grows. It's crazy stuff.
So
But I wrote a book on it,
yeah,
The History, Truth, and Healing of Manufactured Diseases.
right. And where can they find your books, Dr. Macklin?
Yeah, on the website. They're all on the website, bless you.
The website. Now this Morgellons, I guess it's actually a ET disease that maybe if somebody has come in contact with the ET and they give them this disease or whatever. You think that's
Yeah, but you've got to remember this nanotech is in the chemtrail. So why doesn't everyone get Morgellons? And the answer is because it depends on the immune response. And nowadays they've got a thing called CRISPR technology to splice the genetics. So it allows the stuff to replicate, and then you start becoming transhuman because it grows right through your body. It becomes part of you, and it's AI as well. So it starts to overtake the mind. It really is crazy.
so being a zombie is not so far fetched. I want to ask you one quick question. I got an amethyst crystals. I know you know a lot about crystals because of your studies. I got an amethyst crystal inside of a little glass jar with water, and I got two magnets on both sides of it. What will that do? Will that do anything at all, Dr. Macklin?
Yeah, it will send good energy. What I would do under the glass is two magnets either side. What I would do is put a piece of your hair underneath the glass, because it will then get your frequency and send it to you.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, but if you want supplements, for example, you can, if you think you're low on something like vitamin C or whatever, you can, if you write down, and you can use the signature or the hair. If you put the hair underneath the glass, two magnets either side, and then write what the supplement is, and the make of it, and how much you need. And if you put it in the glass, that will help transmit the supplement into your body. Because a lot of people are kind of having digestive issues at the moment because of upgrades and because of emotion release. And I mean, I don't know about you, but sometimes I think, what the heck do you want for dinner? And the answer is nothing. Nothing sounds good. And then you come across them, oh, let's have an egg and bacon sandwich. And then next day, you don't want that. You want something else. So I think, I think our bodies are actually upgrading pretty highly at the moment.
That's me too.
So it's,
I don't have a taste for certain things.
no, I used to love a burger. I used to love steaks, and no, we don't want that tonight. Sometimes just,
could that be our age, Dr. Macklin? Our age changes it into a different taste or whatever, or is that we're going through some kind of transition?
no, I think we're going through a transition. I thought our bodies are really upgrading.
Okay.
I mean, I can feel it. A lot of things are changing. It's amazing.
And I'm glad I talked to you. I've learned quite a bit from you. You're a very bright gentleman, that's for sure. And people, you've been listening to the Dave Emmons Strange Reality and Dr. Christopher Macklin. He's a great guy, and he knows a lot about what's going on in the world and chaos. He knows what's going on with abductees and contactees like myself, and that's why I asked him. I'm sorry I hogged up some of his time by asking him some personal questions, but he knew how to answer them. That's why I asked him. He's very knowledgeable. I love it. I'll have to have you back again for part two if I can ever get you back again. And
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. Anytime, honestly.
yeah, I put this show out on a lot of platforms, about 18, I guess you can say. So it goes out, it's out there. So I will put that out there. You've been listening to Dave M. Strange Reality. Christopher Macklin, Dr. Christopher Macklin has been my guest, and we had a tremendous great time. Thank you very much, Christopher. And
Thanks, Dave. Bless your heart.
bless you. Bless you. Bye bye now.